I want to start with sharing a little bit about who we are. You heard the introductions. I won't spend too much time here, but it is important to note this is our team. We just presented, we presented at NASP this past February. It's important to know who you all are speaking with and potentially might partner with. And as the CEO of this company, I've been a practitioner, practiced in the DC, Maryland area since 2010. Worked on the Maryland side and the DC side across all levels. You've heard me say before, elementary, middle, high school, alternative schools, urban, rural, suburban, transition into school leadership work, where I was responsible for helping to transform a school, and then standing up the MTSS district wide. And so I've been able to expand our scope of practice and do some really neat things. I've seen the limitations of our role speaking to practitioners. I know that we can do so much. And this is why it pains me to see us practicing within a very narrow scope, knowing that there's more that we can do, knowing that most of us got in this to be of service to our school communities and to young people. And I know we can do it because I've had the luxury and benefit to be able to expand within that full scope of practice. And so this is a conversation and this is a platform about how. How do we alleviate the burdens, the pressure, the compliance, which we have to confide and reside in, but how do we do more? And this is a platform and this is a partnership deeper than just a platform that will help you and will help your staff to strive to that each step of the way. And as the CEO, that's a big commitment that I have to you all. I cannot do this alone. And one of the first person who joined this is my co-founder that you all just heard from, Ed, who brings that technical expertise to this work. It's very important. I'm a practitioner. I'm a school psychologist, y'all. We could talk about whisk and bask all day. But then when we get into that development world, it's a different world. And so Ed brings his technical expertise, and we're the best of both of those worlds. And then we've built up a very small team, but a team who is deeply committed. And I'll put our team up against anybody, any day of the week. And I'll stand on that. I'll stand on Ed as a developer against anybody. I'll put our customer success, and I'll say this, and this is being recorded. We have hands down the best customer success in education and ed tech. And it's not even close. Have y'all been on Facebook recently and seen people? Leslie, it's about to be a mutiny over people not being able to get in touch with those other folks. So listen, we believe that deeply because we're built on being of service to people. We have the best customer success on the planet. You can see from the slides, we're practitioners at heart. You heard Lisa, Leslie, Karina are still actively practitioners and serving part-time as well. This is important to note that we have built with practitioners, every member of the IEP team, and built with you all alone. Byron, what does that mean? Well, that means we haven't received a dime from anyone outside of our company, meaning that we haven't raised money. We don't have private investors. We don't have private equity. We don't have outside funding. Some of y'all who've been with us from the beginning, y'all might remember one of my aspirations was to offer this for free. And then I learned really quickly, hey man, Jessica, you can't do that if you want to help people. I share all that to say that our team is deeply committed to this work. We're building this up with our community and we're doing it, and we answer to you. We don't answer to big publishers. We don't answer to private equity. We don't answer to investors. We answer to you who's serving your school community. Byron, that sounds good, but why are you all doing this work? And this is our why we exist statement. Anyways, this is why we exist. to be a partner with you all, to walk hand in hand beside you all so that you, your team, can grow in the work that you all do. Importantly, to help families feel heard, to be seen, and to deliver a level of clinical precision that our students need to ultimately learn. Look, let's be straight up. This is students go to school to learn. That's the point of school. We could cut away all the fluff and everything else. Kids go to learn. Kids go to school to learn. The job of teachers is to help students to learn. As related service providers, our role is to help everybody. We're helping everybody to do that. And we are here to help you all, to help this wheel as we grow. Okay, Byron. Again, how? How can School Psych AI and your team help us? Well, there's 5 big buckets that we do that. Number 1 is being in true partnership with you all each step of the way. Yes, we have a platform and we have solutions and technology and all of those things. But what we've learned, we've been doing this going on 3 years in August. But one of the most important ways that we do this is by hopping on calls. I said we have the best customer success. Between me, Ed, our customer success, our whole team, you're going to be able, we've responded to people at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m., 7 p.m. We're here because we're supporting you all. That means we're helping you all each step of the way in true thought partnership fashion. Okay. The second way is through our technology that we've built out, and we'll show you all that in action here shortly. We have 50 plus tools designed for the work that you do, from FBA BIP tools, report writers, behavioral summaries, and we'll show you all that here in a second. And then through training, professional developments, which are NAS approved. You'll get NAS approved. We have a 3-hour AI training that is next week, June 10th. But that's a big way that we help you all and support you all by providing the training as well as ongoing coaching and support. Okay. Love that you all are here to be of service. Get a good idea of why you all exist and how you all help. But how are you different? Know about Chat ABC 123 GPT and everything in between, Jessica. How are you all different from all of these other AI platforms? There's Gemini, there's Claude. Number 1, those are billion. In the case of Google, Gemini, those are trillion-dollar companies. And I'm here to tell you, they don't have your best interest in heart. Okay. They are here to make $1. That's it. The other thing with those big companies, they are generalist, meaning you can ask them about recipes. You can ask them about, hey, here's everything in my closet. Help me put together a wardrobe. It's the summertime. Help me plan a trip. Those are generalists. Our platform with the work of Ed, our team, is very niche down, and it's a specialist, meaning that when you talk to it about, you ask it about the KBC or you ask about the why, it's going to understand. It doesn't have to guess because we've trained our knowledge base around that. All right. Our tools are designed explicitly for practitioners and every member of the IEP team. A big reason why we differ, and you see that we do not charge. We will never, this is being recorded and transcribed. We will never charge you to use our platform per report. That is inequitable. That is not fair. And you all cannot predict how many reports you're going to have. We will never charge you by that model. And what happens, not only is that inequitable, it's also overpriced. Y'all know what economy we living in right now? It's real out here. And we will never overcharge you to do the job that you all have been called to do. We got to keep the lights on, and we will ensure that it is reasonable and affordable. And what that also means is we are not going to sacrifice on the quality that you all get as well. So we have the best price the best product. That's our guarantee to you all. Does that mean we're perfect? No. We'll be the first. We're the most transparent platform that's out there every step of the way. Okay. And we'll let y'all know when we get things right. We mess things up. Me and Ed break things on a daily basis. Ed, I'm kind of upset because I don't think we broke anything today. Actually, that might not be true. We might have broke something. Where's Leslie? Leslie fits in well with me and Ed. We break things often. But guess what we commit to? Working with you all to understand and build better, to build what you need, and then to get it right. That's our commitment. That is what it means to be community built by design. We have tools in our platform, and we'll show you all this as we start to transition there shortly. We have tools that are built by you all that were recommended. Our manifestation determination review tool was built that way. Okay. What this also means is our primary goal is not just for you to write a faster report. That's missing the mark. We just said the goal is to expand our scope of practice so that you can be of service to your school communities. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about how we differ by being trustworthy by design and being transparent in everything that we do, especially around data privacy and security. And then finally, having the best customer success on the planet. As we continue going through, if you have questions, please drop those inside the chat. We're going to speed through some parts so that we can get into the platform as well. But if you have questions, start thinking through questions and dropping those in. One of the questions that we often get is, what about data privacy and security? Y'all, we have been independently evaluated and we are a FERPA compliant platform, not because I say so. I have a business interest. Of course, I'm going to say so. Anybody else that you talk to, of course, they are going to say that. We have been independently evaluated, which means a third party has come in, reviewed our entire tech stack and says, hey, based off of your tech stack, you are compliant. We also make publicly available our privacy policy, our terms of service, and we were the first to create ethical guidance of how we should be approaching this work. We also make publicly available on our website, and we will make all of these slides available to you. You all will get these after this call is over. We also make publicly available of resources that you all can access. We were the first to talk about, okay, well, should we disclose the use of AI? And we said it's not a matter of if, but a matter of where. And what that also means is we have enough knowledge of doing this and foresight to know what's coming or be able to guess really good 2-3 years down the road. We dropped things on informed consent and disclosures 2 years ago. We dropped the ethical guidance principles almost 3 years ago when we first released. Okay. So we are a FERPA compliant platform. As we keep rolling along, and just some things we've kind of talked about this, but again, we don't believe that you should ever pay per report. So Byron, what is your pricing model? We'll be very clear about this. And you can go to our website, schoolpsych.ai. You can go to our pricing pages. I'm going to quickly go over this. And again, if you bear with me for about 2 to 3 more minutes, we'll start to transition into the platform. We approach this in a tiered manner of at the district level, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, based on your needs. Lisa and Leslie are our practitioners and also our sales reps who can work with you to make sure that pricing meets your needs as well at the end of the day. Okay, our rates are going to be the best while others are charging 8 times what we charge. We're the most affordable out here on the market. And essentially at tier 1, you're getting access to the platform. I mean, everything is here. I'm not going to waste your time, right? I'm sure you all want to get into the platform. Everything that you're going to get is here. One of the things that I will say about this is I'm really big on the implementation and support. And what we found is that when you get access to the scope and sequence around trainings, the monthly check-ins with me and my team and Karina, where you get access to the trainings. The implementation is better. And that's just implementation science as well. Okay. We're here. We'll answer any questions or anything that you all might have. I will pause here. Lisa, Leslie, anything that you all want to add?
I would just say if you're looking at the different tiers, tier one is a good place to start. If you just want access to the platform, but if your team's going to need more support, that's what you're going to get at tier two and tier three is direct and customized support for your team to make sure that everybody's learning at the same time how to use the platform and how to use AI ethically and responsibly.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, let's keep rolling. And again, we're going to have moments where we pause intentionally. We'll fill more questions, think through questions that you all might have, and then we're going to get into the platform. Before we do, I do want to quickly highlight, this all sounds great, but is it moving the needle in a meaningful way? And any other platforms that you all talk to, ask them, what's your data? Don't guess, don't give me estimates, but what's the actual data? Because we've been doing this for almost 3 years. And because of my background in culture and climate and MTSS, we've baked that in to where we use similar approaches. If anyone is familiar with like the IPI or BOQs or implementation, that's the same model that we use. And so we pulled from a fall and spring survey. And what we've seen from that fall to spring survey is an increase. Now, when you see these numbers, this is a business metric that's called an NPS. And essentially, it's a net promoter survey. It basically means how likely is someone to recommend the platform. Now, you might be seeing these numbers. This is very important. Come closer. Listen to this. It goes from negative 100. Lock in, y'all. Negative 100 all the way up to 100. Therefore, if you have a score of 10, you're doing amazing. If you have a score of 20, you're doing well. All right. Our fall NPS score of, look at the respondents, 998 in the fall, 725 in the spring. That's amazing survey completion. 46.5% in the fall, and then we increased to 53.2% in the spring. That means people are recommending our platform at really good levels. By and large, what we found from the spring surveys, we are saving real documented hours of time. All right. When you look at this, people are acknowledging that by using our platform, Schools Like AI, they are saving hours of time per week, which equals real savings, real time to expand the scope of practice. Okay. What we see is that those who are leveraging our platform are using it daily, if not weekly. 94% of people are using our platforms. Now, Byron, that sounds good, but let's break it down. Okay. And anyone that you talk to, ask them to break down the numbers like this. Okay. Y'all are pulling 4 to 6 hours saved. Where are y'all getting that from? They're getting it from us. Let's be honest. But then based out of those numbers, how many people are actually reporting the amount of time saved? Well, in our survey, we see that 9 out of 10 are saving at least 1 hour. What that also means is that the more you use our platform, the more time savings there is. Okay. We also make available, if you can drop in, I don't think I told you this, but our NPS survey results, that would be amazing. And you all can read the full report there as well. What we also found is that this was the goal, y'all. Jessica, this is what we wanted. We wanted to expand scope of practice, and we see where actually 57% of practitioners report doing that. Well, if they're expanding their scope of practice, what are they doing more of? They're providing counseling, direct services to students. They're conducting more classroom observations. They're talking more with families. Check this out. Come closer, y'all. They're going home on time. How important is that? All right. And this kind of breaks down the same thing that we're saying as well. Here's a note that's super important that I don't want to get missed either. Welcome in, everyone. I see the numbers going up and growing. Thank you all for joining and being here. What we found is that about 80% of people who utilize our platform, again, this is deeper than just writing FAFSA reports for the sake of writing FAFSA reports. You can write a FAFSA report, but then can people read it? Can people understand it? And we see that 80+% of those who are using our platform says that it helps them with making their reports more accessible, meaning that parents can read it, meaning that members of the team can read it. The reports are more parent friendly, they're more strength based. We have a tool called the Report Summarizer, where you can take a 50-page psych eval. Ed is saying don't upload a 2,000-page one. People have been trying to do that. But if you're writing a 2,000-page evaluation, I don't know if we have the solution for you yet. I don't know, Lisa. We might be a ways away from that. And yeah, people are doing that. All right. But you could definitely put a 50-page evaluation in there, and then we'll summarize it down to a 1 to 2 pager. We have a translation tool. And here's what you all are getting: clear, jargon-free language that helps people move to outcomes. Now, check out this data that we're talking about and what this looks like, y'all. What we found is a very important function is that we're reducing and preventing burnout. What that means for you all as district leaders is retention. You're more likely for people to stay. Now, Jessica, what we're talking about, trying to pull, especially in districts where we might have a handful and we're fighting, trying to get people into our district. Once you get people, they're likely to stay. Now we can actually get people to come. Y'all know it's a shortage. Kelly Valancourt, who is the director of policy for NASP, once said that we need about 26,000 plus more practitioners, more than what we currently have. It's a real shortage out here. Do y'all know that? And what we're documenting right here, which I'm trying to stress, is that not just a tool, not just AI, right? We're talking about practice. Some of y'all might get that reference. A partnership with us is reducing that burnout in a very real, tangible way where we're keeping people in the field. Look at what people are saying. I used to work much later and on Saturdays just to keep my head above water. Does that sound familiar? I now have more of my personal time back. Have y'all heard this before? Eating lunch without feeling I have to inhale it because I have to get back to work. I use it so that I can go home and spend more time with my family as opposed to being stuck at work after hours. We didn't have to pay people to go and post this on social media. It's very real stuff, y'all, from real people using our platform every single day. We've talked about a lot of these different things. We're not going to belabor the point, y'all. The last thing that I will share here, this was another powerful quote that we just got in this week. For the first time in history, my Mets there in the Pacific, the Southwestern region, are all finalized with a week to spare. And all FBA BIPs to be implemented next year are completed. My last day of contract is tomorrow. Nothing lingering for when I return from summer break. This investment is the best decision I have ever made, next to saying yes to a first date with my now husband, of course. This is real, tangible outcomes, y'all. And then I provide access B. If you could drop the link, we'll make this available. One of our largest districts is the Boston Health Services, which I'm going up there tomorrow to meet with our wonderful partners of Boston Public Schools. And we give an example of what that looks like. Transition into the live portion of this demo. I will pause here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen as we pull up the actual platform. Questions? Anything that I said that you need clarification on? If you're like, hey, we're ready to roll right now, I'll pause here for any questions that you all might have.
Byron, we have a question in the chat. Translation tool, what language? We do have a translation tool. I could look up all the languages. I know we have quite a few. Maybe we could pull that up on the screen.
Yep, absolutely. We can pull that up as well. Okay. And so quickly, I'll just go to that just so that you all can see. This is a bit out of order, but just to show you all the translator tool clicked in. We have English, Spanish, Chinese, French, Arabic, Russian, German, Japanese, Portuguese, Hindi, Vietnamese, and guess what? The last two were requested: Haitian, Creole, and Italian. If there's a language that we don't have that you all need, let us know. We'll work with you, Community Built by Design, to get that added in. Excellent question. Please keep those questions coming inside of the chat. Now, we are inside of the platform, School Site AI. Once you're here, we have some things to help you get started. All right. Hey, Byron. What's up, Sophia? What can I help you with today? And if you have no idea where to get started, here's some ideas. Do you need help writing reports, writing IEP documents? Maybe you want to come up with IEP objectives or IEP goals, IEP goal lesson. Click that, and then it helps you there. Well, what if you want to write reports? It takes you to our report writing tools, okay? And we'll show some of these in actions, but these buttons help you get started right away. We also have this button where you can come in and take a tour. This gives you a tour of our platform, and it simply helps you walk through. If I click into chat, I want to see, okay, how do I use conversations? And this gives you an actual tour that walks you through the exact platform, okay? Very simple and straightforward. You can see when you come in, it's selected inside of the chat view. And when we started talking, I said that there's 5 different ways of how we help. One of those is chatting and having a conversation with Sophia. And what I tell people is you want to come in and just have a natural conversation with your thought partner, Sophia. As an example, you might ask your thought partner, hey, Sophia, give me 3 evidence-based interventions that improve reading fluency for a 3rd grade student. Here, we're just having a simple, straightforward conversation with our thought partner, Sophia. The more context you provide to your thought partner, the better responses you're going to get back. If I wanted to come back and keep having a conversation with my thought partner, I could say, hey, Sophia, put these inside of a table format. Sophia, now I want to dive deeper into repeated reading. Or I have a teacher who is really resistant to outside feedback. Help me explain this in a way where the teacher might actually buy in. The key point here is to come in and just simply keep having a conversation with your thought partner, Sophia. Now, once you all get in and start exploring and mastering the conversation, that's the most simple way to get started. And about 90% of people are coming in and having conversations with Sophia. One of the cool things that you're able to do that other platforms don't allow you to do, when you click this button that says create document, it opens up, and now this becomes an editor. And you can edit anything that's inside of this, which is, to me, a powerful, powerful use, where now I can come in, I'm reading, I'm modifying, and I'm adding my own magic here, okay? And you can see this is the workspace view. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to click back into the chat view. And yes, I talked about expanding our scope of practice, but I got a report due tomorrow. How can this help me write reports? There's several different ways. What I'm going to show you is through our report writing tools. If you see in the bottom corner here, you're going to click where it says tools. And then you can see you have tools designed by role. If you're a school psychologist, it will say school psych, so on and so forth. We have tools for SLPs, OTs, PTs, BCBAs, every member of the IEP team. But for now, we're going to click into the report writing tools. When you see multi-rater, think rating scales. When you see individual assessment, think cognitive achievement. We're going to click into the report writer multi-rater. You can type in or paste in your text, or if you click that upload button, then you can literally do that. All right. We are going to go over and we are going to upload a score report here. All right. Select that assessment from the drop down and then hit submit. It's that simple and that straightforward. Now, what's happening on the back end, on our end, you see is generated response. We are going in, we're looking at that score report. We're pulling out the actual scores, then we're putting it back together in our preferred format based on what we've heard from people who use our platform. It's going to give you a test purpose and description. It's going to give you a table of scores for every rater. And then it's going to give you a very detailed and comprehensive narrative interpretation of those scores. It'll take about 60 to 90 seconds to run, which is still so much faster from us having to manually go in, write our own reports and everything as well. And in just that amount of time, just like I said, here's that test purpose and description, a table of scores for each rater, and then a narrative interpretation. Here's where it gets cool. Other platforms, you have to wait and have all of your documents done. Who works like that? Nobody works like that. We might get a rating scale today. We just got permission to test. I might get a rating scale from that teacher who was on it tomorrow, but then I might have to track down the parent, and we might not get that rating scale until 2 weeks from now. And then the other teacher, like, this is too many questions on here. I'm not doing this. So we don't work that way. But check this out. Now, if I want to add this to that document, I click add to document. And now we could keep working as we go. All right. You have different threads. You can organize your threads by student name. And so now this is student. We're going to rename this. This is student Johnny Mac. I don't know where I got Johnny Mac from, but I'm working on his report. Now I could jump over to student Teresa G. And now I'm working on Teresa G's report as well. Oh, and by the way, guess what? You can come in, once again, edit anything that is here as well. All right. But Byron, this is too much information. Okay. Here's the beautiful part about it. If you highlight this inside of the editor, you can hit this magic wand. You can summarize, improve, go deep, make it parent friendly, make it strength-based right there at the click of a button. Another really cool thing that you all can do, and then I'll pause. Let's say we want to come back in and start using our 50 plus tools that we have access with. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to tools. And just as an example, I'm going to go to our Readability Assistant tool, which is a fan favorite. I'm going to paste in that section for externalizing problems. And guess what I want to do? I want to drop that down to about the 3rd grade reading level. Now what we're doing, we are using all the tools and using Sophia as a thought partner. Look, I'm the expert here. I don't have the time or the cognitive capacity. But now using the tools in this manner helps me to sharpen my clinical expertise. And now Sophia dropped that down. Instead of saying externalizing problems refer to behaviors that are outwardly expressed and often disruptive, such as aggression, defiance, impulsivity, and difficulty following rules. Okay, externalizing problems are behaviors that are shown outside and can be very disruptive, like being mean. It makes sense if I'm reading that. I get it. So now what we're going to do, cool. I'm going to take this. I highlight it here. Come on now. And so now we're working together to create magic. And guess what? We could keep rolling, because why would we stop? Now we're going back to the report writer tool. Now we're adding in different assessments. Now we're just rolling. What assessment are we doing now? And achievement, boom. let's do it. Now we're dropping that in. We're selecting that and submit it. Now we're rolling. Now we're cooking. Now we're about to have a full evaluation done. And then we're going to get some recommendations. And then we're going to drop in our behavior observations. And then we're going to keep going. And then we're going to translate it. And then we're going to make it parent friendly. Then we're going to make it strength based. And then we're going to come up with the action plan because now we actually have time. And then we're going to get with the teachers. And then we're going to improve outcomes and make a difference in the life of a young person. I'll pause here. Questions, comments, and who's ready to take over the world?
I put my question in the chat, but I'll say it in person to give more context. So I work with an amazing literacy coach in my elementary building. And so if I were to use that recommendations tool and pull out a recommendation from that tool for reading decoding or reading fluency, and it might be different than what she thinks. And she's going to ask me, why did you pick that one and where did it come from? So can I answer that question for her and with something more in depth than because the school psych AI tool gave it to me?
Yes.
Okay.
And we had a really good call with a giant in the field yesterday who has a deep expertise in interventions. And one of the things that we both talked about is where this information is coming from. Because you're working with a team that's 55% practitioners, we're pulling from evidence-based recommendations from the research around best practices. That's why you're seeing repeated reading. Why? As a practitioner, that's what I work with my literacy coaches on. We were talking about repeated reading. So, okay, that's what we're going to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk with her, guess what we're doing now? We pulled this directly from this achievement test, right? From the Wyatt. And you can see in that short amount of time, we got the Wyatt right here. So then what we could do, we could pull this, run it back through our recommendations generator, or we could simply say, hey, Sophia, based on these scores, give me evidence-based suggestions based on this specific student, Kimberly. So now it's personalized as well. So then you would talk to your teammate and say, hey, based on these recommendations that I received, let's go through them based on the student's profile. And now you all are the experts. You can understand, well, it recommended this. We don't even have access to that platform. It recommended that. Who has time to do that? But then it recommended repeated reading. Now that one we could dive a little bit deeper into. So we're getting the suggestions versus going, look, anybody remember the thick purple book full of interventions from back in the day? Instead of going to that on the bookshelf, you're getting it faster and you're still the expert and you work with your partner to go through it a little bit deeper. I'll pause there. How did that land?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I'm just used to like citing my sources, right? Like here's the reference book or here's the journal article or what have you that I could say that's where I got this research-based suggestion from.
Yeah, that makes sense. At one point we were pulling in the citations because think of where we're pulling from, like an Excel sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about, hey, this student is struggling in reading, yada, 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 we are then connecting to that Excel, think of that Excel sheet for those specific interventions. And we have citations and references connected to it. And at one point we were feeding them back, but it was just too much text. It wasn't a good format. And so we actually removed it as well. But again, what we are providing to you is suggestions. And we know that they're really good suggestions. There is still an expectation that you as the expert will review anything that we recommend, that Google recommends, or anything that's in that book as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Excellent question. Other questions? Okay. And then you all can see we ran the Wyatt, it returned back to us the Wyatt. If I wanted to, I can come back here. I could pull anything from these sections. I could run it back through any of our tools. Let's say that I wanted to copy. Let's go with decoding. How are we on time? If I wanted to, I could pull any of these sections. I could run it back through, let's say, our IEP goals, right? I'm going to tools. Let's just type in goals, our IEP goal generator. I'm going to text, and I'm just going to paste that in. And what we want Sophia to help us with here is just coming up with the IEP goal as a suggestion. All right, I'm the expert. So now look at this. Based on this information, we have an IEP goal. By the end of the IEP year, the student will improve the coding skills by accurately reading 80% of grade level, blah, 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 blah. This is actually kind of pretty good. It's decent enough. And then I would work with the case manager. Hey, how are these goals? How can we modify? Now we're adding it to this document, and we can modify it however we like as well. All right. Oops, I think I hit the wrong thing. Sorry about that. All right. We could come back here. We could say now, based off of these IEP goals, watch this, y'all. Based on these IEP goals, give me a student-facing progress monitoring worksheet to help track progress. And now Sophia is going to help us create a progress monitoring worksheet based off of the IEP goals that we came up with, based off of the real Wyatt scores that we got from this student. Okay. And so if you can think it, your thought partner here, look at this. Come on now. I'm going to create a blank document. And now we're going to add that to this document. And just like that, you have a progress monitoring worksheet in real time. This is actually really good too, by the way. Look at that. It came up with the decoding goal, the reading comprehension goal, how we'll measure it, the math problem solving goal. Like, are we seeing this, y'all? And then it came up with reflections and celebrations. I'll pause here. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what our platform and working with us can help you all with. Questions, comments. What questions are outstanding or haven't been answered that might be in the way of you all moving forward? I'll pause here. Well, if y'all could give me a few seconds to pull this up for you all. We also have a guide, which I am going to drop for you all to help with FBAs and BIPs. I'm coming back over to the chat. I'm going to drop this resource for you all inside of the chat. And this is another powerful advantage of working with us. We have tools, we have prompting guides to help you all. Now, I'm going to create a new thread, and then we're going to go to our tools or creating FBAs or BIPs, all right? And then just click on that tool and it pops up. And here is super simple. You just simply follow those steps, all right? And so where it says student information, that is where you are going to put in any strengths, any challenges, anything that you all might have related to that student. And then for behaviors of concern, go ahead and put in any relevant concerns that you have of the main behaviors that you all would like to target. For the context of behavior, what you're going to want to put in there, in my district, we used, as an example, the FAST, the functional analysis screening tool. Any information, observations that you have, go ahead and drop that in there. You can put as much information that you have or as little. And Sophia will help you to create everything that you get from our platform. Think of it as a 75% draft. And then you use your clinical expertise and judgment to bring it the rest of the way home. And in a matter of seconds, you have a really nice FBA draft as well as a BIP. We give a nice description of that target behavior. We've trained this to be based off of principles of BCBA. So it gives you a really nice ABC analysis. And then it gives the potential identified function, which this is actually really, really good. It's pulling directly from that functional analysis screening tool. I like this. It pulls in those environmental factors as well. And then it gives us a draft behavior intervention plan. we have programmed Sophia's FBA and BIP generator to always begin with proactive strategies. If an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. I just gave y'all gold. That's one of my favorite quotes that's out there. So let's be proactive in what we do. All right. It gives you a ton of really useful information, implementation guidelines, progress monitoring that's built in. Then you could jump back over to the workspace. We'll create a new document. And then you can add that to a document. You have a really nice draft FBA and BIP right here. Again, I went through that quickly just for the sake of time. I also will invite you all back this office hours. I wanted to focus on report writing, and we spent a little bit more time on the introductory things, and then FBAs and BIPs. In future weeks, we'll go deeper into the different tools. We also provide access for our district partners for this entire workspace, where you can build in your own district template, where you have access to FBA and BIP templates, where you can organize your folders. You have access to the documents. We didn't spend time here because I wanted to address those other pieces, but our platform is very comprehensive and gives you all everything that you all need.